To celebrate Gabrielle Coco Chanel's birthday, Chanel released a limited edition beauty collection. There is a 9-pan eyeshadow palette. There is a cocoa nail polish. There is a lipstick that they've called Crush, and we'll get into the details about the lipstick. And the brand new Coco Mademoiselle Crush Perfume, which is a really interesting introduction into the Chanel line. This is the first time that Chanel has translated the aesthetic and the mood of Coco Mademoiselle, the perfume, directly into a color makeup release. So there are soft mauves, rosewoods, and high shine finishes. I think it does complement the Coco Mademoiselle quite well. And the names of these three beauty products do fit with the Coco Mademoiselle line of perfumes. The 9-pan eyeshadow palette is called the new Smokey palette. It's a 9-pan eye palette, and it has 5 buttery shadows paired with 4 sheer shimmery top coats for layering options. So you can do from an everyday, very, demure wash of color to more dramatic smoky, which I'll get into when I discuss this 9-pan. Then there's the Rouge Coco. Now this is a long wear satin lipstick. Chanel recently reformulated this product, and I love these lipsticks. I think they're one of the best satin lipsticks on the market, and they are long wearing. Here's the thing about the lipstick. This particular lipstick is called Crush. It is $165, and the Chanel logo, the Chanel CC, is really delicately engraved or embossed on the bullet, the entire lipstick, which is very unique and very special. However, the shade is a shade that already exists, and the shade is Flying Cloud, which I have on today, and I will swatch this for you so you can see it. But it is exactly the same shade. It is a very, very cool toned mauve pink that, if you like the Stone Liner by MAC Cosmetics, it's very similar to that. It's almost got like a gray undertone, which is why I say it's a mauvey pink. It is not for everybody. On some people, this shade will not be flattering. It can make your lips look very almost purple. So I think it's really interesting that they chose Flying Cloud for this particular collection, and I'll get into my thoughts on like the fact that they just changed the name and put some embossing on it. We'll get there. And then Coco, which is the nail polish. This is number 49. It's a delicate, opaque, soft pink. It is actually a beautiful shade. If I can, I'll put it on tonight so you guys can see it on the nails. I'll try to incorporate it into this video. But this shade is a beautiful, it's a classic ballet pink that Chanel does. And it is quite pretty. My understanding is that is a unique shade that is not the same as ballet. Hopefully that's true. I'll test it out for you guys to make absolutely sure. So let's talk about the lipstick first, okay? The Flying Cloud lipstick is a shade that came out this year, and it fast became one of my favorite shades, and I do wear it quite often. But it is a very mauvey, grayish toned lipstick. This is for somebody who really likes that cool tone, or for somebody who has, I've heard from people who say that their lipsticks always go orange on them, or their liners always go orange on them. If you're that person, Flying Cloud is a great lipstick if you want a cool toned and you're having difficulty achieving that. I would very much doubt it if this goes warm on you. It's a very cool leaning color. The new lipstick, Crush, which is the same as the name of the perfume, is the same shade. It's not a different shade. So if you have Flying Cloud, there's absolutely no need to buy this lipstick unless you want it for the fact that it's got the little CCs embossed all over the bullet. But remember, the minute you use it, the CCs, they'll be gone. And 2, the case itself on the bottom will say Crush. Some people are collectors and you want to collect it. I get that. I purchased it because I actually love Flying Cloud and I use it all the time, and that's a lipstick that I think I could go through, so I'm just going to keep this sealed and then go through my Flying Cloud and then use that one. But it is exactly the same shade, exactly the same color. The nail polish, like I said, it's supposedly not the same as Ballet, but it is a similar shade. So if you love that type of shade, which I obviously do, then yes, this is an excellent one to buy. The Chanel nail polishes, in my opinion, are quite good and really do last. Like you'll get good wear out of them, but they're not as long as like a gel nail or any other type of long wearing nail polish. They're just a regular nail polish. You're paying for the Chanel name, but again, there's nothing wrong with that. I just did it. Coco Mademoiselle. Coco Mademoiselle is a perfume, a core perfume that has been part of the Chanel line for quite some time. And there's different flankers of Coco Mademoiselle. Coco Mademoiselle has been very, very popular. That's a fragrance that has done very well. And there are the same notes, for the most part, in this perfume that are in Coco Mademoiselle. It's supposed to be a flanker of that. However, the base notes of this have a heavier, in my opinion, a heavier level of patchouli, vetiver, vanilla, and amber. There is the core structure of the Perfume. You get the rose and jasmine, which has always been part of the Coco Mademoiselle elixir. But the dry down of this is, in my opinion, the best core perfume that Chanel has done since Coco Chanel, way back in the day. It is phenomenally good. I have a very large perfume collection and actually have been getting rid of some of my perfumes, selling them, because I don't wear all my perfumes. There's no way I could. But this one I actually bought today. And I was able to test this back in July. I got a little sneak peek, a sneak sniff of the fragrance back then, and I knew that I loved it when I smelled it then. It's phenomenally good. And I would say the thing that really takes over for me is the amber and vanilla at the end of it. It's rich and deep and warm, and it smells like fall, whatever that means. But it is the best new perfume that I think Chanel has done. And in fact, they gave me this very cool newspaper that they came out with for Chanel. And on it is the Coco Mademoiselle Lights Up a Parisian Cafe. And there's numerous articles in here, including the Crush formula finally revealed on page 4. I love the fact that they did a print newspaper. I mean, it's brilliant. I wish we still had newspapers like this. But anyway, the new Coco Mademoiselle Crush Absolu Eau de Perfume is not only a fragrance, it feels like a new beginning, a rare phenomenon. The power of attraction at its most potent, whose pull is impossible to resist. I love the people who write these things. But I have to say, like, it is, you have to get your nose on it. It's a very distinct scent. And once you smell it, I think you'll either love it, you'll automatically know it's not for you, because it's that kind of scent. It's not just like every other scent that you smell. The notes of the fragrance develop immediately. Like, you smell the lychee grapefruit immediately upon spraying it. It's immediate impact. Not like other designer fragrances where that kind of just, it's nice and it's simple and it hits you. Lychee grapefruit. And then it dies down into this, you start to get the florals, the rose and the jasmine. And then the dry down is really what does it for me. The vanilla, amber, patchouli, it's so good. So if you like the kind of fragrances that I generally like, and I have had a couple of videos where I've talked about fragrances and I'm trying to do more of them. It's hard to find the time. You'll like this. But again, I don't believe in blind buys. Go ahead and try it. Get a sample of it. You'll be able to get a sample practically anywhere that sells Chanel. It's a beautiful new fragrance, and absolutely, absolutely love it. The 9 pan. This is the first time that they have translated or tried to translate the aesthetic of Coco Mademoiselle into a color palette. And the fact that they named it the new Smokey, I was expecting something deeper. I was expecting something that looked like the Saint Laurent. This is the Saint Laurent. This is a very different eyeshadow palette than this. The Saint Laurent 9 pan is called Nude Hours, and although very neutral, it is very pigmented. You go from like medium pigment to like deep, And there are some very shimmery shades in there, and it's a great palette if you're looking for something that is a true neutral that you could try different shades with, different colors, and you're looking for impact. This one, although called the new Smokey, I don't get smoky from this. What I get from this is what I think of when I think of Coco Mademoiselle, which is a lighter, more flirtatious version of Coco. Coco and Coco Noir, the perfumes, are deep, rich, nighttime fragrances. You can wear them anytime, but you get what I'm trying to build as a picture here, like a Parisian cafe at night with a bourbon. Okay, that is what I think of when I think of smoky. A smoky eye, a deep color, rich, and maybe slightly messy. This does encapsulate what I think of when I think of Coco Mademoiselle in general, the general line. Not this new one so much. This new one is more, it's deeper, it's richer, it's thicker, it's more syrupy, it's more fall winter. This palette, in my opinion, is more like everyday, very useful, the kind of thing that you could gift to anyone and they could probably use it. The shades in here are really pretty. There's 4 top coats that have different tones to them. One is a gray silver, one is like a pink, one is a, I'd say, champagne goldish shade, and one is this white. And the white is probably my favorite shimmer in here. I have it on my eyes, you'll see it. It's a very bright white, and it's actually quite beautiful. The other shades that are in here, the shade that's second to closest to my elbow, that's what I have all over my lid that I base it on. It's basically my skin color. Like it's almost exact. And then the other shades are creamy, satiny shades of tan, mushroom, and brown, and then a peach shade. So it's a very everyday, safe, easy to use. This is going to work on everyone. It's very much, to me, what Coco Mademoiselle, the original Coco Mademoiselle perfume is. Mademoiselle meaning like young lady, young woman, instead of Madame. So it's a different, it's a younger, lighter version. That's what I get from this palette. The fact that they called it the Smokey, the new Smokey, I don't see this as smoky. That's not necessarily bad, but this is not a deep, pigmented palette. This is the most pigmented shade in the palette, the one with the CCs on it. I have that on the outer corners of my eyes. Hopefully the video of me putting this on came up when I was jogging. But if you take any of the shades in the middle, which are all satin shades, creamy shades, they are different tones of brown. And although nice shades and actually everyday useful shades, they're not super pigmented. Like they're good, solid performers, but to get a super smoky eye, which I'm starting to build right now, you're gonna have to use those 3 shades in the middle line. If you rely on the other shades, you're not. The other shades are really there for a very light, everyday, neutral look. I do think they're neutral, absolutely. I don't think this is really cool leaning or really warm leaning. I think this is neutral, which is hard to do, so I give it that. But this is the kind of palette that I love because I don't wear, ironic, I don't wear a ton of makeup all the time, especially in the summer. I practically don't wear any. But I love a neutral palette, and this is a great neutral palette to travel with because you have all the different, you can go with a very, very simple, very easy to pull off look, and then you can deepen it up to make it smoky with the 3 shades in the middle. Overall, the look that you get from this is not a Victoria Beckham palette. And I use that reference specifically because Victoria Beckham is known for her smoky eye looks and her eye bricks, what they used to be called. Now I think they're called eye wardrobes. They are very rich and very pigmented. And so anytime you use any of the Victoria Beckham eyeshadows, the powders, you're going to get a smoky look. You're going to get a rich pigmented. So that's what when you hear the word smoky, that's what comes to my mind. Can you get that with this? You can, but again, you have to use these 3 shades in the middle. This is the deepest. This shade here is like a mushroom, and this shade here is like a light tan. And those are the three shades that have the most pigment in them that you have to rely on to get to this. But the other shades in here are light, and they are very light toned neutrals. I think this is going to be a great palette in the sense that you can use it every day, and I think a lot of people will like it because it's very user friendly, because you have to build it, and you can build it. It builds really well. But if you're looking for a smoky, over the top, super pigmented kind of look like this was, these are not the same. They are very different products. Now, if you were hoping for a very different product, that's what you get. So I wonder why they call it Smokey. That's the first thing. Like, that just seems, I'm not exactly sure why they chose that. The word Smokey and that falling in with the new perfume, that I get, because the new perfume is definitely heavier, smoky, like it's got this richness to it that is quite beautiful, and I get it. It's still in its beautiful packaging with the little, she gave me the little charms. I haven't unpacked it yet, but I am wearing it. And so I get the name as it relates to the new perfume, but I don't think the 9-pan delivers on that rich deepness unless you like are very deliberate about it. The lipstick, the fact that they chose to re-promote a shade, Flying Cloud, that's no surprise. Brands do re-promotes all the time, but the fact that they changed the name to Crush, which is the name of the perfume, Crush Absolu, but didn't make it clear that it's the same shade, is odd, to say the least. Like, I'm not sure why they would do that. And I don't think that was clear in the marketing at all. Like, I still think there's a lot of confusion over whether or not it is the same. And the only difference in the shade at all is the CCs. That's the only difference in the bullet. It's exactly the same color. And I wish if Chanel was going to do that, then they would just have kept it Flying Cloud. Now, I don't know if they were trying to create a color and didn't have time, because they had a date, because her birthday is the 19th of August. So they had to do it on the 19th of August. Maybe they ran out of time to come up with a new color. I don't know. But the fact that they would call it Crush and just replicate another shade with a totally different name, I don't love that. No, because there's people that probably bought it not knowing that it was the same. The nail polish is beautiful, but it's a very light pink. And it matches actually the aesthetic of the 9-pan. It's light, it's everyday, it's beautiful, it's easy to use, very user-friendly. And I think a lot of people will love it because the ballet shade is very popular. So overall, what I would say is the standout of this limited edition launch is the perfume, which is, I think, what this started with in the first place. I think the Crush Absolu was the thing that took a long time to create and has been planned for quite some time. And they built this around it and launched it on her birthday as a homage to her, which is lovely. But I don't know if I would necessarily say that the connection between all of them is that is that clear, because the 9-pan is like an everyday, beautiful, simple palette. So is the nail polish, and the lipstick is a very cool toned, almost grayish color that I love but already exists. So if you were really excited about this collection, hopefully you wanted a very neutral, everyday, easy to use palette, because I think this is. You could definitely make deeper and more like, smoky if you want to, but it's not just going to give you that right off the bat. And if anything, I would say get your nose on the perfume, because the perfume is, in my opinion, very, very special. And Chanel also gave me this Coco makeup issue, which is, the colors on here are just beautiful, and the photography is gorgeous, and there's a lot of very colorful and impressive looks in here that talk about the different shades of Chanel. And there's a thing in here that says, what kind of Chanel girl are you? Which talks about like the different shades, the different aesthetics. This is the kind of stuff that I remember reading in Vogue or Cosmo or Allure, back in the day for the September issue, which doesn't really exist anymore. And I did enjoy that. as a younger person. I thought that was a lot of fun, so I'm thrilled to have this. I think it's a beautiful book, and you can see like some of the colors that they use just in the print, and just the cover. I mean, the color is a cerulean with the hot pink, which, you know. But this doesn't necessarily fit aesthetic wise with the 9-pan or the nail polish or even the lipstick. But the perfume is rich and deep and unique, and in my opinion, an amazing addition to the core line of Chanel. It is the first core line perfume from Chanel that I have purchased in years. I mean, years. So all the perfumes that I have recently bought from Chanel are the exclusives. So this is as good as an exclusive line perfume from Chanel. It's that good. So get your nose on it, try it, get a sample, and hopefully you love the 9-pan and the nail polish if you pick those things up, and that you either knew that the lipstick was the same as Flying Cloud and bought it anyway, or you bought it for the shade because you love the shade and don't own Flying Cloud. If, you know, it irritates you that they did that, I get that. I do. I understand why you'd be irritated because it was not made clear. In fact, I don't think it's being made clear now that it's the same shade. So, because it has a whole new name. I'll be doing more looks with the 9-pan, and I will do comparisons and all of those things. But I wanted to get this up because it is selling very quickly. In fact, it's moving very quickly, and there actually is a limited release number for each boutique. And for Macy's and Nordstrom. I don't know if it's at Blooming's. It's probably at Bloomingdale's too. Maybe Saks, I don't know. But each location actually didn't get that many of the 9-pans, interestingly enough. And so if it is something that you want, I did want to get the video up relatively quickly because this is one that does seem to be going quickly. If you love it and you want it, I just want to make sure that it's available to you before it's gone. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about the lipstick issue, the fact that it's called the new Smokey when it's not really a Smokey palette, and the fact that the perfume, I think, is I just generally don't say that. I think that's the standout of this limited edition release. Now the perfume is, in addition, it's a flanker to the line, so it's not going to disappear. The beauty products, they are here for a limited time. So can't wait to hear what you have to say about all this. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I really do appreciate it. I hope to see you in another video really soon. Bye.